and deeper.
That was the walk-in music of the 2018 Summer Youth Olympic Games, and we heard that probably some dozen times during our project. And we thought, well, I thought, that might be an interesting beginning for a session to have something which molested us for almost 3 weeks.
Followed.
I like that song.
Yeah, it's a really nice
So
song.
some weeks and then some months in our dreams.
So you might get a bit confused by the topic, by the name. How can we more easily organize multi-chapter projects? We're not only talking about the 2018 Summer Youth Olympic Games project we did together as Wikimedia Deutschland and Wikimedia Argentina. And we have 2 Germans here, Marco Serum, and we have an Argentinian here, Juan Pliszewski, and who am I?
Martin Roos.
Nobody knows.
I think,
knows
I'm not sure, but I think you are Martin Roos from Wikimedia Deutschland.
Yes. And
Also known as the
we lack 3 people here because we were 3 of each country. But at least the presentation of one of our fellows is here. So why this presentation?
Why not?
Why not? Well, multi-chapter corporations is nothing new, but it's probably on a different scale how this worked. And we are talking about the 2018 Summer Youth Olympic Games. You might not have heard about that, so we give you an introduction to that in the beginning. Happened almost a year ago, and we worked closely together on making this project happen. And from creating friendship, over taking photos, writing articles and such, into doing all the post-processing and including images. And it's not that it was an easy way to get there. And we wanted to share our experiences and raise some questions, bring some questions that you might help us to find solutions to make this project easier in the future, or projects like this. So we'll talk a bit about the background, about the planning of the project, the budget we had to find, what we did in particular in Buenos Aires, and all the aftermath, more or less. And while we have this and the most important questions collected, we hope to find with you some more solutions. So let's first look a bit at the background. Where are we? And that means in this case, the Germans are coming from. We, and also our third guy from Germany, are huge sports fans. Sandro. And not so much into soccer, which would be common for Germany, but winter sports and some others. So there's a lot of sports photography in Germany happening on luge. But also on others, like ball sports. Sometimes we also go to soccer, but it's not that easy to get accreditations, topic which will also appear during our presentation a couple of times. And we do other stuff like gymnastics, diving, trampolining, rowing, and so on. We also have been at the clothing of the German team for the Senior Olympic Games, for example.
Since 2012.
Since 2012, we have been at every clothing, and we hope to be there at every one that will come in the future as well. But we are not only doing individuals photography projects, but also bigger ones, together with international people. So one of the largest ones was the one in the European Parliament, with 12 to 15 European countries represented there, helping...
including Scotland.
Helping the members of the European Parliament to look into the articles, have things corrected based on sources, getting new photos under free license. We had a lot of photo booth there, and you can see in the left lower corner, right lower corner, sorry, that it was quite a huge group of volunteers who did all this together. So that's more or less the background behind that. And then there was an idea.
Yeah, there was an idea. We made so much other projects, mainly in sports, World Cups, some World Championships, league games and whatever. Why not reaching out to the highest possible goals? Why not reaching out to the Winter Games, to the Olympic Games? In 2014, the official website of the football championships offered really free images. The IOC did not do this, so we had to work on our own images for our projects. So, what to do? The first time we really thought about it were the Olympic Winter Games in 2018. And we asked for an accreditation at the end of 2017 and thought, okay, it's maybe a short time, but we try it. Yes, it was a short time before this, and they told us, you're a bit too late. So around a year too late.
Yep.
We should. Okay,
A year too late.
A year too late for everything. So we thought about what doing next. Okay, so we start this planning very early for the next Olympic Games in next year. We're doing
2020 Tokyo.
And we informed us, and then we saw there 2018 Youth Olympic Games in Buenos Aires.
In the meantime, we also realized that there is going back to the Winter Paralympics, that there was already a team that wanted to go to, and take photos of the Winter Paralympics, we learned that they had issues, struggled with the visa and also with the international coordination of a larger group.
And around this time in Argentina, we also been thinking about something to do with the 2018 Summer Youth Olympics, because during the 2018 Winter Olympics, the Wiki Loves the Olympics tournament was taking place across the platform, and we were focusing a lot in the Argentine delegation, and we find out that we didn't have any single picture of the athletes, except for one, who was Veronica Ravena, who is a loser, and we have pictures thanks to him that took part at the International Youth Luge Championship. And we thought, okay, perhaps we can do something like this, perhaps.
But so they were already aware that there's something like a Youth Olympic Games. When we didn't, we only saw that on the Olympics.org webpage. We browsed through the things and had to still suffered from the rejection for the big ones, for the senior games. Youth Olympic Games, what's that?
We're not done. Yeah, it's one thing to ask for an accreditation for the big Olympic Games. And of course, we will have the question then, why we should give you an accreditation? Who are you? Oh, you took pictures at the 2 or 3 World Cups in Luge. Oh, fantastic. Come later when you're grown up. So our idea was, so maybe we start with a smaller project, the Youth Olympics. And then we can show the IOC what we've done with the Youth Olympics, and we can show that we are a trustworthy partner. And the Youth Olympics, yeah. What are the Youth Olympics? They are a very young product of the International Olympic family. The first Youth Olympics were held in 1998, So
2010. 98, the idea.
any idea? Yeah. Okay. In 2010, exactly, and in Argentina were the third ones. The Youth Olympics are a bit a test balloon for the IOC. They test their new sports, and last year they tested the first time the equality of gender. So it was a test balloon for them for sports, and it was a test balloon for us for being part of this.
There was already one German photographer in Austria in 2012. It was, I think, a week before he got the opportunity to go there, and or the day before, it was something really like that.
One day before it started,
Yes, you got information. You can go there. There's some photos of 2012, which was not organized, held in an organized way.
It was not planned.
Not really planned. So
Just happened.
the 2018 Summer Youth Olympic Games.
Yeah, as I said, the third edition, and as the big Olympics, it goes over 2 weeks, 15 days with the opening day. More than 200 nations take part there, 4,000 athletes, and it was planned 2,000 males, 2,000 females. At the end, because of some illness and whatever, it was not completely 2,000, but nearly, and it was a big success for this. I could say it as written. 241 competitions were held in 32 sports, and as I said, not in all the usual, the common Olympic sports, but also in others. So break dance and
roller speed skating,
Beach handball.
beach handball.
Beach
Yeah,
handball.
we fell in love with both.
We fell in
The
love with
beach
beach
handball.
handball.
And the opening ceremony was tested in another place in the stadium. It was held on the main street of Buenos
The
Aires.
9 de Julio Avenue, where the obelisk is. You will see some pictures later about that. Not the most comfortable place to do the opening ceremony, but it was somewhat interesting.
It was open to everyone. There were
Yeah.
It was a
half million
free,
people,
yes,
a million
half a million
or
people on the
something like that.
You must
Standing
imagine.
in the streets.
You must imagine
Looked-
they closed the whole city for this day.
Yes.
No buses, nothing was more going in this area, and it was full of people.
Logistical hall. So we said, okay, let's try this for the 2018. But first challenge we had there was, should we now look for a team when we want to do this? Send a mail to Wikimedia, Al, for example, looking, hey, I might also be interested in, but it's absolutely unclear if the IC will give us an accreditation or not. So our decision was, we first do our first steps and ask the local organizers whether it would be at all possible to get a group of volunteers there for Wikipedia. And with most accreditations, it's like sending a mail, waiting 3 weeks, sending a reminder, waiting 3 weeks, sending a reminder, and maybe at the second or third time you get a response. And at that time, the response was, hey, thanks for reaching out. We're the local organizers, but we're not responsible. Please go to the IC. Okay, looking for the email address of the IC. Sending a mail to the IC, waiting 3 weeks. Sending a reminder, waiting 3 weeks, sending another reminder. And then we got the response, yes, we're responsible, but no groups, we haven't heard of groups. There's a platform that you have to use on olympics.org, and everyone has to ask for accreditations individually. Okay, that was the first sign where we really said, okay, well, let's see. Well, we can't lose. We can ask, we can be rejected, but we can also be approved, and when we get approved, we'll see what happens next. So we went for, let's try this, and surprisingly, at least for us, we got our accreditation. That was in mail on 21st of April, 2018. Yes, yes, you can come. I was really like,
We got four accreditations.
we were four Germans. We had a guy who didn't come then. Yeah, so then the fun started because yes, the fun started with Marcus. No, it took us, I don't know, a couple of days to create that photo because you can see all the requirements.
Not because of my hair.
Requirements for this one photo, and it was sent to us the request. You need a photo for your name tag within the next 3 days, over the weekend, of course, and it must be. You must be identifiable. It's 70–80% of the photo of the face. It has a specific size, specific background, DPI, and etc. etc. We were doing hours and hours working on these photos. Were really a mess.
We made at first pictures
with me, that failed.
With me in the living room of your parents, but the background was too yellow.
Yeah, that was really super fancy. All messages were urgent and sent 2 days before the deadline, and for us, we got help from Wikimedia Deutschland a lot. But still, there was no project, there was no budget, nothing that we could really work on. So, what should we do? Should we ask now, since we were accredited, ask local Wikipedians, Commons photographers, chapters for supporting us, for naming volunteers, for finding other volunteers who would also go through this super fancy process on the Olympics
without not anymore so much time.
Yep, without only few time left. So that was the second challenge we want to discuss with you. Who could have helped us best? So we decided. I think that's so it was me, Argentina. I know some people there, and I asked the former board chair, "Hey, who should I talk to? Do you have an idea?" And as I was too close to go to the mailing list and start a big project, and she said, "Well, send a mail to the project manager or something like that, volunteer supporter, and she'll probably do something." That was then Wikimedia Argentina came up.
I mean, as I told you, we were really interested in doing something at the Youth Olympic Games, but we really don't know what to do because we didn't have the experience the guys had with accreditations and sports events and sport photography and all of that. So we were considering multiple options. One of them was holding the accreditations, but we are thinking, okay, perhaps the government can send us pictures because that's what they usually do. They send us some, but not necessarily from the competition. And we thought, okay, perhaps we can do some volunteer at the games and try to do something from there. But then, once the guys reached us, we tried to apply to the accreditation at the IOC, and thankfully we got approved too. So
there's now three teams, or three depending on how you count. Or three, I don't know. 3 organizations already registered to the ISC. Wikimedia Austria, Wikimedia CH, because there was some event in Lausanne happening where some of them apparently showed up, Wikimedia Deutschland and Wikimedia Argentina. And so it's organization-based, the platform, and you have to have some kind of chapter behind you to go there. Then
Yes, we really didn't have any idea about sports photography. We haven't even thought about it. Just one of the volunteers who got the accreditation too knew a little bit about photography. He had his own camera, his own lenses, and the rest of us didn't even have a camera. So we had to, in my case, I had to borrow a camera from my uncle. My other volunteer had borrowed the camera from our project manager. So we were with some old Nikon DSLRs with an 18 to 55 shooting rugby, which is not necessarily the best option, but we find our way with that. We also thought, okay, since there is no Wiki Loves the Olympics, we can guarantee that the content on Wikipedia about the games is going to be as complete as it was on the Winter Olympics. So we thought, okay, we are going to organize our own editathon and tournament about this, that I will tell you more about later. And then we helped the guys with the equipment, buying collapsible chairs, batteries for the camera, and reaching out with them at the hotel, and etc. The solutions for
So we decided, or we came to the conclusion that it might be useful to do some kind of tandem photography. So one not experienced photographer together with a more experienced one, so that they could learn from each other. And there was also the idea of having a workshop for the local community on photography and in particular sports photography.
Well, it's not a one way.
No,
not
absolutely
only an experienced photographer from Germany with a not so experienced from Argentina. It's also you have a local guide for the Germans who don't know about the situation there. So it would fit for everybody.
And we could have come with the largest and biggest camera. It's not really helpful when you don't have that equipment once we left. So working on the things you have, getting the best out of the cameras, that was the intention behind that. And then a lot of preparations started with the Argentinians, created schedules, had to prepare the workshop, and we also had to ask for a bit for the local equipment like collapsible chairs, which you will really start to love when you spend more than 12 hours per day at one place. And yeah, we were also really happy that there was a editathon happening on Spanish Wikipedia on the article content. But since we now found each other a bit, was the question now, well, who has a budget? Where do we get the budget from? So we have motivated people, and we have an idea what to do and how to do it. But we have some cameras that we want to bring, and we wanted to bring us. And there was also support needed to organize the workshop in Argentina. So who has a budget for popping up larger multinational projects? First answer, we thought Wikimedia Foundation. All right, there's project grants, minimum, so the travel and travel grants, well, with the budget of less than 2,000 euros, that would not have covered one of our flights and stays in Argentina. So project grants, minimum budget of 2,000 euros up to 100,000, but only possible 2 times a year. In January, we already had April or even May, November, October. There's a conference. There's the Olympic Games. Absolutely not possible for us to do anything of this. So we decided, okay, so WMF is not really helpful at this moment. So we tried to ask our local chapter to cover that. So try to convince your own chapter to spend 10,000 euros to go somewhere. And it's really not that easy. And it's good that it's not that easy to do this. So we had to write a very lengthy grant request with to cover the travel costs, the equipment, the transportation costs, and such. So it was a bit more than 10,000 euros, but I think we ended up somewhere of this. It was not only German equipment, but also Austrian. We also are now very happy that we had backup external HDDs because one had issues with that. And then the discussion started with Wikimedia Deutschland about the usefulness of such multinational projects. We got a support letter, thankfully, from Wikimedia Argentina, and we got our grant request finally approved by 5th of July 2019. 1.5 months after the accreditation approval.
And well, from Wikimedia Argentina, we didn't have a budget. We really didn't even know how to do it. As I told you, we had to borrow cameras. So basically, what we focused on was helping the guys with everything we can, apart from organizing the datathon we told you, and helping with batteries from the camera that we had to buy there. Yeah. And then, well, when we thought of the idea of doing the workshop for tandem photography, we took care of the rooms. We used the office of Wikimedia Argentina, and well, we contract the catering, and we made the slides and the presentation and everything.
That was really helpful translating.
And of course, translating
even
the slides to Spanish.
It was even simultaneous interpretation at the workshop to make it more diverse. Yeah, so a lot of preparations were done, and then the project started. You can see the Sandro on the left here.
And when the project started, oh yes. The flights were going from Germany to Argentina with a stop in Madrid. And then we came to Argentina at the 2nd of October. And the first thing we've done, we're picking up our accreditation.
Because it was still not clear if we would really get the accreditation flying around the world. We got that approval letter, but no other feedback from IOC because, as I said, 3 weeks. And we got it. I don't know if you've ever seen happier Wikimedians before, but really, we were really happy by that moment.
Oh yeah. And then we started to figure out what is where in the city, where to go, which way to use, and where are the sports stadiums and other places where the sports were held. And very fast we came to the decision, the more worse things far away can do the Argentina. The locals are better.
There were some sports that were located outside Buenos Aires itself, and it wasn't covered by the accreditation transport, so we thought, okay, that's what we are going to say. So we took like a train at 6 in the morning to be at 9 on the golf course and something like that. That's the things that we took care of.
Because we intended to have photos of all sports.
Which is not an easy task.
Not an easy task when you have 32 different sports and a lot of competition there.
There was a system of buses for transportation for the sports people and for the officials and also for the press people like us. But where was golf?
Outside.
Somewhere outside Buenos Aires where golf. The buses were going 2 times. 1 time in the morning to the golf court, and one time in the evening back, and nobody of us wanted to just do this and stay there for a whole day for golf. Our friend Mauricio have done it and have made so fantastic images of golf.
Oh, he was really so much interested in this, so we tried to find to make it suitable for everyone, and it worked out pretty well because
on his images even golf looks interesting. Okay, and 32 sports, and really we have done to we were able to took pictures of 31. Only sailing was impossible because also sailing was far away, and
We
sailing.
didn't have a boat to go to take pictures of the sailing.
You had to go on you had to get one of the last places slots on the boat. You never know when will the regatta start because of the weather. It was so crazy.
It was 2 times postponed to the next days, and if we tried to get there, because of the shuttle system, which is represented here in this short summary of a typical day, leaving early for the shuttle buses, waiting, taking photos, waiting for more shuttle buses, taking, then waiting very long for shuttle buses.
I'm not that far. Stop it.
Yeah.
You must imagine, we're Germans. We Germans, we came 2 days before the event starts to the places where the event was held. And we saw these places and we thought, oh my god, this never ever can happen. They will never ever can do this here. 2 days later, everything was fantastic.
I was even killed by, almost killed by a fence at one place. You really, fence fall on me. Wet ground, everything very muddy and such.
Yeah.
But then we had our opening ceremony day, and the day afterwards, everything was prepared. Everything was there. It was really.
It was fantastic. It was totally in time.
Yeah.
Dumb Germans do it always a week earlier. Why? Okay. What Martin already said. The transport system was a funny thing. Sometimes the buses came too early, but mostly too late. I counted the time I was waiting for buses and came for 15 days, for 1 whole day just waiting for the buses.
24 hours waiting for buses.
And we had 25 hours, but okay, I'm not
Each one of
not
us.
so. Yeah, we had a lot of time for waiting.
Welcome to Argentina.
Yeah, was not.
Well,
so
it would,
good.
in the end it worked out.
Could be worse.
Yeah.
Oh, there is a slide missing.
It's like,
This line of the last days. No, sorry, chapter. And that it was like he was at maybe beach handball. I was at artistic gymnastics. Sandra was at soccer.
Indoor soccer.
Indoor soccer, yes. I was okay. Well, we found each other. We were happy to do this project together. We also wanted to do tandem photography. I also wanted to cover all the sports, at least the finals, most of them. How can we become a team and communicate when we usually do not see each other? Maybe even we didn't see each other, although we stayed in the same hotel. Maybe sometimes for midnight dinner.
We saw one time we saw each other not for 3 days.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah. So that's one of the challenges, and we use social network to communicate.
Basically,
with
WhatsApp, Telegram, and Google Calendar to have
Yes.
nothing outside of this world to.
Yeah,
To organize our
but
schedule.
then one phone was stolen from Sandra, and we couldn't use WhatsApp anymore, so we had to at least switch a bit to Facebook chat or something like that. It was really the solution you could think of. That's something we would do. After all that funny things, taking photos there for 2.5 weeks, there was not immediately the end of the trip, but some more stuff.
The funny thing is, the day after the closing ceremony, we decided to go out to eat something together. This was the first moment we all 6 meet us at one place at one time. We never ever saw us before.
That's not true. On the 5th, we also met all together, where we had the steak and
No.
No, there was
No.
one missing?
No,
my
one was
God,
missing.
completely out
Yeah.
of knowledge.
We were there for 15 days, and the 15th day we get it and met us all. Was
Because we
was
met
interesting.
also in between, but not all 6 at the same time at the same place.
No.
So we did boxing together, for example, and you probably did beach handball.
No, we didn't do.
You didn't do.
beach handball.
We're just both very interested in beach handball. All right. And we also had to prepare something on that day, not
Yes,
only.
but at first, then
Yeah.
we had a free day. One free day to make sightseeing, and it was really needed and was fantastic. It's an interesting city. Go to Argentina, go to Buenos Aires. It's worth. And then I think it's more your part.
Yeah, we had the workshop. We did a bit like, so we also have one more participant here of the workshop, and we talked about the project and all, and some of the photos we already took, and how we did that, a short introduction to photography in general, and then some tips for sports photography in particular. So we are also doing, please take a photo of a moving thing, and we moved that. We also have the fantastic Wikipedia ball there, which is in the Wikimedia Argentina office, so throwing them up and taking photos without everything motion blurred, and we shared knowledge there, and it was really, everyone shared their experiences.
That's a really needed class of photography for us.
Yeah.
Because when we started, at least Marcos and I, who was my other companion, we really didn't know anything about photography, so we were learning on the go. The first day we just put the camera on sports photography mode and we shoot, and then we started learning how to use, okay, let's go to manual mode and set the things properly.
And the most shameful thing on this is they both took better pictures.
Right. And then it was like, okay, a few hours left, go back to the city, get robbed a second time, and then return home.
Who's
Sadly not true.
who's interested in this story? It's
Please.
worth to be heard, but not here. Ask Martin afterwards.
Yeah, well, and then it was more or less the project over. And now we can look back what we wanted to achieve and what we achieved. So we wanted to have at least 50,000 photos uploaded. So a week ago, more or less, we're at 90,000. We still have some photos from the different sports there. And of course, only uploading photos not really useful. So second goal was to have at least 500 transcluded namespace 0. And we're really happy that a lot of photos are already used. For example, the new world record holder in swimming, 19 years old, has been at the Youth Olympics, has photos from us. It's now shared around the world. Second thing was to not only have that amount of photos online, somewhere hidden in the media archive called Wikimedia Commons, but also to have that easily accessible on a couple of wikis. Thanks to a very tricky commons category system, we're able to have direct links to different sports, different events, and such. For example, during the time we have been, after the Youth Olympic Games, there was like on Russian Wikipedia an article written about the female speed climbing, which was for the first time at the Olympics. And the person who wrote that article, which is featured on Russian Wikipedia, was so super happy to get photos from that one event. I think it was Mauricio and me who took photos there. That the person decided, now I also write all the articles about all the competitors there. We were really happy that something like this happened thanks to the project. For Wikimedia Deutschland, also the capacity building was an important issue, so that it's not only us who are used to sports photography, but also new ones to get addicted a bit to that. And it was the three who really were active on the project and upload many photos. No, 1,000 was way too small a number for that. The most important thing, at least according to my impression, was that that doesn't end after the project. We had that great experience, yes, for sure, but we wanted to use this to open up other events. And they also helped us in Germany to get to other events, but we also wanted to make that possible to our friends. And we were super happy when we saw you and the others taking photos at the 2019 South American Beach Games in Rosario.
The South American Beach Games took part in Rosario, Argentina last March. We were a little bit worried about taking part of this because even before the accreditation process we sent emails, letters, and we called the Argentine Olympic Committee to say, hey, I want to do something for the Youth Olympic Games, and they didn't even answer to this day. So, and the accreditation process of the 2019 South American Beach Game was organized by the Argentine Olympic Committee, and we thought, okay, we are going to get rejected immediately. And once we said we took part at the 2018 Summer Youth Olympic Games, they say, okay, you are good to go, and they gave us the accreditation, and that helped us a lot. We got a lot of pictures.
My story of the house.
It's a very good heritage for the foundation and for other projects we want to do in the future.
And we also want that you maybe go outside and say, hey, we had volunteers at the Olympics, even if it's just the Youth Olympics. There is knowledge in our community about that, and we're working hard on reaching these goals and representing sports in our projects. And I hope that will also help us there, and we would be happy if at one of the senior Youth Olympic Games, the 2020, 2022 and such, we could have Wikimedians there. It's not yet reached, but the future will tell. From the Argentinian side, it's...
Okay, as I told you, since we didn't have the Wiki Loves the Olympics, we organized our own contest for improving and creating articles about the Youth Olympic Games. And we have quite a lot of participants, not only from Argentina, we have people from Colombia, from Chile. So we have really a multinational tournament like Wiki Loves the Olympics. And we got to create almost all the articles of all the athletes, and we had all the articles of all the nations, like Argentina at the 2018 Summer Youth Olympic Games, or Germany at the 2018 Summer Youth Olympic Games. Those articles are created, are available right now on Spanish Wikipedia. And after the games ended, we organized our photography workshop at the office of Wikimedia Argentina. And not only participated members of Wikimedia Argentina, like Esteban, who is here, and the rest of us who took part at the Youth Olympic Games. We also had people who never even participate in any project from Wikimedia Argentina. So it was new people to the entire movement basically joining us at the workshop. And it was quite a successful workshop. We got some nice pictures, and now we more or less know how to use a camera, I think. It was an overall good experience for us.
Yeah. So, yep. Any comprehension question on the topic?
Do you have any problem about security in Argentina? Do you have any intent to drop the lens? Any problem with thieves?
Well, the robbery we'll later talk.
We talk about.
That was a very funny story. So let's talk about the challenges. That was, should we look for a team and there's no accreditations? Who should we reach out to? Who could help us? Budget, I think that's hard to answer because there's no one from the foundation who can say, oh, let's change that. That's probably, we can all dream, but probably ends with this. How do we become a team and communicate? So
The funny thing is, we're still a team. Really,
The WhatsApp and the Telegram group is still active.
we communicate some days, every week, more than once.
At least about something.
So do you have any ideas on that? And while we do this, of course, we don't want you to live without the photos. We took some impressions from that. So first challenge was I'm really not able to use your laptop. Team. What to do first? Was it the right way we did? First looking for accreditations, or should we have first asked the general movement?
I think it could be interesting to be labeled as a Wikimedia sports group photographer or something like that.
That's a good idea.
I see that for myself, I took not a lot of photos, but being accredited. For cultural events, for example, for concerts. And the first time, I said, well, the problem is that I have nothing to show you. But I remember it was in France with Wikimedia France support to say, hey, this guy is labeled as a Wikimedia photographer, and here are the picture we have taken. It helped. So after I had my own picture, but for sports events like, for example, the Olympics, and I'm thinking of not only the Olympics and the next year, but also in 2024 in Paris, in Paris and in France. I think we should have something to do for this moment. But to be labeled as an Olympic sport.
We should definitely talk about France, because
but maybe not with me, but I think at Celine, for example, we had so many pictures of Wiki or other photographers.
So thanks for the tip for the user group. I think that also helped with the challenge to have some kind of group who might be interested in these topics also in the future, and with the user groups also possible to have budget, also as a challenge 3 more or less.
Maybe not an official user group, but
that's maybe why not
to show to the Olympic committee.
Yep.
We had already done something, and even if it's not the same people, we can do something.
Yep. Youth Olympic Village here in the center.
Go back. The image to the right, there is Mauricio in the front and Sandro in the back. So two of our fellow photographers.
Yeah, you can see the golf photography there. And that's it. Thank you. Thank you for